Hello friends, welcome to Book Bunny. Today, we're talking about The Practicing Mind by Thomas M. Sterner. In our lives, we often focus too much on achieving results, whether it's learning to play the guitar quickly, mastering painting, or perfecting a new skill. However, Sterner explains that true joy comes when we shift our focus from the final product to the process, the journey of learning itself. When we obsess over results, we tend to rush, get frustrated, and forget to enjoy the moment. Imagine you've decided to learn a new musical instrument. You practice daily, but your mind is fixated on playing a favorite song perfectly. When your fingers don't move correctly or the music doesn't sound right, you get irritated. The problem isn't that you can't learn. It's that you're focusing on the outcome instead of enjoying the process. Sterner emphasizes that to achieve mastery in anything, we must focus on the journey rather than the destination. When you adopt the mindset of concentrating on practice and enjoying the process, your skills naturally improve over time without stress. For example, if you're painting, constantly worrying about how the final artwork will look can lead to disappointment and shaken confidence. But if you focus on each brushstroke and find joy in the act of painting, you'll create better work without pressure. This mindset applies to sports as well. Top athletes don't just focus on winning trophies. They enjoy their daily training. Small, consistent improvements during practice lead to success in the final match. A cricketer who only thinks about scoring a century might falter under pressure, but one who focuses on playing each ball carefully becomes a great batsman. In everyday life, we often get overwhelmed by big goals. For instance, if you're preparing for an exam and fixate on the marks you need, studying can feel like a burden. But if you approach each study session as an opportunity to enjoy learning a new topic, you'll learn more effectively without stress. This idea extends beyond studying or skill building. It applies to personal habits too. Want to wake up early? Instead of worrying about when the habit will stick, focus on adjusting your routine gradually and enjoy the process. Similarly, gym goers who obsess over achieving a perfect body may burn out, but those who enjoy daily workouts and small improvements stick with it and see results naturally. Focusing solely on results creates pressure, frustration, and even failure. But when we concentrate on small daily steps and enjoy the journey, we improve and stay happier. Sterner's key lesson is about patience and being present. When we rush to be perfect, we make mistakes. But when we enjoy the process, like a child learning to walk who falls but keeps going, we grow without stress. A child doesn't worry about running fast. They enjoy the act of walking. Similarly, treat any new task like a game, focusing on each step without obsessing over the outcome. Next time you start learning a skill, building a habit, or pursuing a goal, remember, the result will come on its own if you enjoy the process. Being present in the moment. Our minds often get stuck in the past. If only I hadn't made that mistake. Or race to the future. What if I fail? Sterner stresses that true peace and productivity come from living in the present moment. Have you ever done something and later realized you weren't fully engaged? That's because your mind was elsewhere, dwelling on past regrets or future worries. This prevents us from fully immersing ourselves in the task at hand, reducing the quality of our work. For example, if you're painting but thinking about a past failure or worrying about the final result, you won't focus on your brushstrokes. The painting won't turn out as well, and you won't enjoy the process. But if you focus on each stroke in the moment, the result improves and you feel more satisfied. Our minds swing between the past and future, but the present is where clarity and peace reside. Consider studying for an exam. If you're consumed by thoughts of failing or past poor performances, you'll struggle to focus, and stress will hinder your learning. But if you concentrate on understanding the chapter you're reading right now, you'll build a strong foundation and learn more effectively. Sterner explains that much of our anxiety and stress stems from not being present. When we focus on the current moment, distractions fade, our minds calm, and we work more efficiently. This applies to everyday situations too. When driving, if you're thinking about an upcoming meeting or a morning argument, you might miss a turn or cause an accident. But if you focus solely on driving, your journey is safer and smoother. Similarly, in conversations, if your mind is elsewhere, the other person notices your lack of attention, weakening the connection. Being fully present, listening attentively and engaging, improves communication and strengthens relationships. Mindfulness and living. Fully in the moment mindfulness means doing any task with full awareness. For instance, when eating, if you're scrolling on your phone or lost in thought, you won't savor the flavors. But if you focus on each bite, the meal becomes more enjoyable. This is mindfulness, being fully present in whatever you're doing. Stirner teaches that dwelling on past mistakes or future worries ruins the present, which is the only moment we truly have. Think of a musician performing on stage. They don't dwell on past shows or worry about hitting a wrong note. They immerse themselves in each note, delivering a stellar performance. Similarly, if we approach every task with the mindset of being fully present, our productivity increases, and life feels simpler and more fulfilling. When you catch your mind wandering to unnecessary worries, ask yourself, what am I doing right now and am I fully engaged in it? If not, gently bring your focus back to the task. Being present isn't a magic trick. It's a habit that develops with practice. Once mastered, it brings peace and joy to life. Self-control and mastering your mind. Our biggest battle is often with ourselves. We face moments where our mind wants one thing, but we know something else is right. For example, you decide to wake up early, but when the alarm rings, your mind says, sleep a bit more. This is where self-control comes in. If you can control your thoughts and choose what's right, you can achieve mastery in anything. Stirner emphasizes that our thoughts drive our actions. If our thoughts are scattered or negative, our behavior follows suit. A sports player who constantly worries about losing or past poor performances can't focus on the game and underperforms. Those who master self-control face challenges with ease. Self-control isn't just about suppressing desires. It's about recognizing what's best for you and choosing it, even when your mind pulls you elsewhere. For instance, if you're on a diet and tempted by junk food, your mind might say, just eat it today, start fresh tomorrow. Without self-control, you're stuck in a cycle of giving in. But if you train your mind to choose what aligns with your goals, you'll make progress. Stirner explains that self-control is tied to mindset, not just habits. An uncontrolled mind chases distractions, negative thoughts, or instant gratification. But a trained mind, like a well-guided horse, takes you where you want to go. Self-control isn't just for big goals. It's vital in small moments. For example, while working on a project, if you give in to checking social media, a few minutes can turn into hours. Mastering small habits builds discipline for bigger changes. Self-control also brings stability. If someone tries to provoke you, without self-control, you might react impulsively and regret it later. With self-control, you respond calmly and thoughtfully. Similarly, as a student, if you're tempted to play video games instead of studying, choosing to focus on studying strengthens your future. Stirner's key insight is that self-control is a skill developed through practice, not an innate trait. By training your mind to stay focused and make intentional choices, you can achieve your goals and live a more disciplined, fulfilling life. Continuation of the Summary of the Practicing Mind by Thomas M. Stirner. This means that if you're struggling to control your thoughts and actions right now, it doesn't mean you can't learn to do so. The more you focus on it, the better you'll become. The question is, how do you develop self-control? Here are the key steps. Awareness. The first step is to be aware. If you don't know where you're losing control over your thoughts or behavior, it's hard to fix. Start observing the situations where you struggle to stay in control. Small steps. Self-control doesn't develop overnight. If you put too much pressure on yourself to become 100% disciplined immediately, it won't last. Instead, set small, achievable goals. For example, if you want to reduce social media use, decide to limit it to 1 hour a day and gradually decrease it further. Avoid distractions. The easiest way to maintain self-control is to stay away from things that distract you. If your phone distracts you while studying, put it on silent or keep it in another room. If you can't stop eating junk food, don't bring it home in the first place. Mindfulness. Whenever you feel your mind veering in the wrong direction, pause for a second and ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? Often, this simple pause can help you regain control over your actions. Self-control is like a superpower. Those who master it can steer their lives in the direction they want, achieve their goals, improve their habits, and handle emotions better. Those who don't try to develop it become slaves to their desires and distractions. The question isn't whether you have self-control, it's whether you're ready to learn and practice it. Start paying attention to your small decisions, and you'll see your life gradually improve. The practicing mind and avoiding self-judgment. Have you noticed how high our expectations are when we start learning something new? For instance, if you begin learning the guitar, you might expect to play perfectly within the first week. But when you make mistakes, you think, maybe this isn't for me. This is where the practicing mind comes in. Stirner explains that if we approach any task with a calm and focused mindset, without judgment or anxiety, we can grow faster and enjoy the journey. The practicing mind means focusing solely on the task at hand, without worrying about mistakes or striving for perfection. When we adopt this mindset, our progress becomes smoother and more natural. The problem arises when we judge ourselves, put pressure on perfection, and stress about outcomes. Think of a child learning to walk. They fall, get up and fall again, but they never think, I'm not good at this, or I should be running by now. They know they're practicing and will improve gradually. As adults, we lose this natural mindset and become perfectionists, judging ourselves harshly and getting discouraged quickly. Stirner offers a simple solution. Enjoy the process without worrying about perfection. For example, if you're painting and constantly evaluate each brushstroke, wondering if it's perfect or if the final painting will be good, you won't enjoy the process. But if you paint with the mindset that you're learning and each stroke is making you better, you'll work more relaxed and creatively. The same applies to learning the piano. If you get frustrated with every mistake and think, why can't I get this right? You'll stress yourself out and make more errors. But if you see each mistake as part of the learning process, you'll learn faster without stress. Stirner highlights two major benefits of this mindset: peace and focus. When we understand that we're practicing, not perfecting, the pressure of perfection lifts. We stay calmer and focus better on the task. For example, if you start going to the gym and obsess over how much muscle you've gained or weight you've lost, you'll feel stressed and may give up if results don't come quickly. But if you focus on daily improvement and enjoy the process, you'll see better results without stress. This mindset also helps you stick with things longer. Many people start learning a new skill but quit soon because they set unrealistic expectations and get discouraged when they don't meet them. However, if you adopt the mindset that you're improving a little each day, you can stay consistent and achieve mastery over time. This applies to studying too. Students often think they should master everything instantly. If a topic feels tough, they judge themselves and think, maybe I can't do this. But with a practicing mindset, focusing on daily progress, without stress, they can learn consistently and effectively. The practicing mind also means treating every activity like a game where the goal is to enjoy and improve gradually. This mindset reduces stress over small setbacks. In relationships, for instance, if you want to improve your communication skills but judge every conversation, did I say the right thing? Or did they like what I said? You'll feel anxious and struggle to communicate naturally. But if you treat each conversation as practice, aiming to improve gradually, you'll feel more confident and natural. Stirner explains that the practicing mind prevents burnout and giving up. When we focus on enjoying the journey and learning daily, we stay motivated for the long haul. The DOC method. Do, observe, correct. Stirner introduces a powerful technique called the DOC method. Do, observe, correct. This method involves taking action, observing what went right or wrong, and improving without emotional stress. When we approach tasks without judging ourselves, we learn faster and improve without unnecessary pressure. For example, if you're learning to drive and judge yourself every time you shift gears incorrectly, why can't I do this right? You won't learn relaxed. But if you treat it as a process, shift gears, do, notice what went well or wrong, observe, and adjust next time, correct, you'll learn faster without stress. Similarly, in public speaking, if you worry about saying something wrong or what the audience thinks, your focus shifts to judgment rather than performance. But with the DOC method, speak, do, reflect on what worked or didn't, observe, and improve next time, correct, you'll become a better speaker without pressure. The DOC method's biggest advantage is that it protects us from negative emotions. When we judge ourselves excessively, we get trapped in fear and anxiety, thinking a mistake will ruin everything. This fear stops us from trying new things. But when we remind ourselves that we're learning and every mistake is an opportunity to improve, we feel relaxed and perform better. Consider a musician learning the piano. If they get upset over every wrong note and think, I'm terrible at this, their mind fills with fear, leading to more mistakes. But with the DOC mindset, play a note, do, notice the mistake, observe, and adjust next time, correct. They learn faster without mental pressure. Stirner compares this to a scientist conducting an experiment. If the results aren't as expected, the scientist doesn't blame themselves. They observe what went wrong and improve. We should adopt the same mindset. In business, for example, if your first month doesn't yield the expected profit, you have two options. Criticize yourself, I'm not good at business, or use the DOC method. Review what you did, do, analyze what worked or didn't, observe, and adjust your approach, correct. The latter helps you improve without losing motivation. In relationships, if a conversation doesn't go well and you blame yourself, I didn't say the right thing, you may avoid talking to people. But with the DOC method, have the conversation, do. Reflect on what went well or needs improvement, observe. And try better next time, correct. You'll improve your communication skills without fear. Stirner emphasizes that when we stop judging ourselves, we become more creative and efficient. A painter who worries about every brushstroke won't paint freely, but one who enjoys the process and corrects later will unleash their creativity. Similarly, when learning a new language, fear of mispronunciation can hold you back. But with the DOC mindset, try speaking do, notice mistakes, observe, and improve, correct. You'll learn confidently. The magic of the DOC method is that it teaches us to see life as an experiment, where mistakes are part of learning, not something to fear. The question isn't whether you'll make mistakes, you will, but whether you'll judge yourself for them or observe and improve. Choosing the latter makes life easier and more enjoyable, free from the pressure of perfection. Stirner's core lesson is to stop judging yourself and focus on practicing. Our biggest obstacle is our own mind. When we stop judging and start enjoying the learning process, we truly grow. The DOC method, do, observe, correct, teaches us to approach every task with a calm, observational mindset, improving gradually without stress. Instead of striving for instant perfection, focus on consistent progress without judgment. Each mistake is a lesson, not a failure. When you make a mistake, don't criticize yourself. Pause and think. I did, do, I observed, observe, and now I'll improve, correct. This mindset brings both success and satisfaction. So friends, that was today's book summary. Let us know in the comments how you liked it, and thank you for listening.